keeps him at bay.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
we're
That's
live.
why I showed the
We
racks
just
and all
have
that.
to run our mouths. And these guys are like,
We live? Live, live, live.
Are we
Okay,
all live?
We're on. All right,
I
so
feel
we're
like
here.
we're live.
Okay, so just don't worry about it. What cameras you look at, they'll edit it on that side as we're going. So everybody, time here with Michael Restrepo from Restrepo Innovations.
How you doing?
I'm a huge fan of Mike and Restrepo Innovations. He intimidates me to no end because he's so incredibly bright, but he's a super cool dude. So we're excited to have him on with us. And then Rob Skuba from the Tech Reps, one of my very favorite people in the industry. And Mike's quickly becoming one of my favorite people in the industry, but right now I prefer Rob. And so
Don't worry,
we're
Rob's
here.
my guy too, man. I love this guy.
So we flew out. We flew out to New York. We spent the week here. Mike gave us a tour of Crestron. We spent some time with Theo Calamarakis. Rob put that one together. Made sure that we could spend some time with Theo. It was a great time. Met up with the team at Reva. And last stop here. We're as excited about this as the whole trip. We're here with the Restrepos at their shop. We'll give you a tour in a minute. But it's been a fun week. We're going to talk for a little bit. I'm going to try and talk less. But we're going to talk about kind of what we've been doing, what we saw. And then we'll give you a quick tour of the Restrepo pad. So a couple of big shout outs. If you are a client in New Jersey, and I assume you service most of New York, right?
The metropolitan area.
Check out Restrepo Innovations. Like I said, I'm intimidated by them. If I had to bid against Restrepo Innovations, I'd probably just move my bid and just quietly walk away. But Mike's the real deal. His team's phenomenal. And Rob Skuba is a manufacturer's rep. And if he serviced our area of the nation, I would buy anything I could from Mike. Or from Rob. He's a straight up cool dude. And he's the one that got us interested in Reva and put us in touch with Theo. So, all right. So, Crestron. Mike took us to Crestron. It's a fascinating experience. A lot of you that follow us know we do a lot of Control 4 and a lot of Savant. And Mike hit me up online. He's like, why don't you ever talk about Crestron? I was like, I don't know anything about Crestron.
I had
So
to say something.
I
I
can't
had to
talk
say
about it.
something.
Yeah.
But you know, it was cool that one thing I got before we even get into that, something that I want to get out there is I got to appreciate the integrity that you've brought out, even on this topic. You know, that where others they bite onto the low-hanging fruit, which is always easy to talk negative about brands, and even easier when you don't know about something in depth to just be a naysayer. No, it doesn't work or anything. And it took a real man to say, hey, you know, I just don't know about that. And it took even bigger man to be like, I'm not going to talk negative or falsely because I don't know. So I definitely commend you. And that was one of the things that drove me and Crestron to be like, we need time to come here. We need Matt. We need his team. We need his people. We need to talk to those brothers, and because there's something there. There's something there, and we all felt it, you know. And it comes off on your videos, and everybody. And when we knew that there was an opportunity to meet up with you guys, you know, we were gonna jump on it. Come on now, we were definitely gonna be like, you gotta come down. You gotta check our house out. We gotta
that's
see.
starting to blush, man. Leave
I know. Look at me. I'm trying to
That's
think.
good. I thought he's always pink like that.
So
but
funny. So real fast, for those of you that are watching, we're going to be kind of playing with some tech stuff as we're going along. We are testing the Sling TV from Dish, and we're super excited about it, but we're kind of learning as we go. We actually have, I've seen 4 cameras on tripods and 3 iPhones going, and we've got Greg behind the laptop. He's going to be cutting back and forth. We've got Jamie Restrepo. She's behind a couple of iPhones. She's going to help with the tour. There's Greg. There's Jamie. I mean, this is like a studio. This is cool, right?
Oh, this is amazing.
But we're fumbling a little bit as we go along, but hang with us. We're going to have some fun. So I want to talk about, you mentioned the red. Funny story. My tail, I couldn't ever do poker. When I get ticked off, my ears go purple, like dark purple, and everybody knows I'm mad. So they'll come to the office and like, what are you upset about? I'm like, nothing, man. I'm like, your ears are purple, dude. And then I'm just like, it's over. Everybody knows. And I can't control it.
For Halloween, we're gonna have purple.
Yeah, I'm
mad. It's true, for real.
With some time shirts, we're gonna walk around like.
We good, guys? You need anything from us? Mics? Oh, and quick tip, because I noticed we're doing already. Try not to smack your mic when you use your hands, because it'll pop on camera. We can't edit that out live. Okay, so let's talk about Crestron. And my brothers and I talked about this a lot. True story. We just genuinely wanted to know more about Crestron. We get asked about it all the time. Our design clients, people that call us from around the nation, they want to know about Crestron, and we honestly don't know. the biggest takeaway, we can talk about a lot here, the number one takeaway is the way we were accepted and treated the second we walked through that door. It was unbelievable.
Any door.
Yeah, and
Reality,
I'm not,
any door of a
and
restaurant door.
This isn't hype. I'm not exaggerating. It was funny because Vin Bruno talked about this, that when people come to the Experience Center, the only thing that can happen is that Crestron can screw it up because it's too good for somebody to walk through there and not walk out and be excited about it. And that was our experience. But in addition to that, you know, Phil and even the receptionist, everybody that was there, it was like we were the most important person in the world for those 2 hours. And as we walked through there with Phil, you could tell that that was just the company culture for everybody that associates with Crestron, not just our 2 hours there. And that impressed all of us. We're big into the people behind the brand. And we all walked away and we said, how could you not do business with Crestron after that experience? It was phenomenal.
But it was any building, because you should elaborate a little more, because you walked into the New York facility. And right? Like
Yeah,
we started,
were 4 hours late.
we were like, we're going to see every Experience Center. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
so
walked
we-
in there, and they knew who you were right away.
Yeah, so we went to the Manhattan Design Center and didn't know what we were doing, and we were supposed to meet up at 10 o'clock. Or 9 o'clock? I don't know, Jamie.
We'll
what
let
was
the
it?
10 o'clock
I'm giving-
fly. So like, it's not as late.
We were supposed to be 9 o'clock. And we rolled in, and a guy, his name's Brian.
Brian Shaw,
He
yeah.
walks right out, and he goes, you guys are timed, right? And we're like, yeah. So we thought we were in the right place. And he goes, Phil and Restrepo were waiting for you guys. I'll call them. It was amazing. And we were like, oh, my gosh. And we were 4 hours late. And so I'm emailing Phil. I'm emailing you, and I'm like, guys, like, I get it. You're busy. You got stuff to do. We can scrap this. We'll do it later. I don't want to take your time. And they kept saying, don't worry about it. But a lot of times people tell you stuff like that, and you show up, and then you see what's really going on.
Right.
And we showed up, and Phil was so gracious and like, don't worry about it. You guys, too. I mean, we cost you 4 hours, and then we still got 2 hours.
We wanted to show you. I cannot tell you, because we knew, honestly, the only person you were hurting was you. Because I hate to be honest with you, there was so much more. Now, we got to scratch the surface of it, but we really, and I'm hoping that we get another opportunity to bring you back to the mothership.
Oh, yeah.
Because what you got to see is where the cameras were allowed to be on. And we wanted to, you know, it was almost like the Oz, and we wanted to bring you behind the curtain and show you.
One of the things that was cool, and it was believable. It didn't feel like hype. He talked about their SEAL team and just the level that they'll go to. You know, it's funny. We got back from ISF training 2 weeks ago now. And Joel Silver always jokes around about it. He's like, if you want that, bring more money. I'm like, you know, if you want this level, bring more money. And there's a little bit of that with Crestron, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool that they're like, for that one person that has that one unique application, we'll do everything to make it happen for them. And you felt that in the culture there when there were two different receptionists while we were there because we were so late. We walked in and there was a receptionist. She was gold. And when we left, there was a different receptionist. Mm-hmm. She was amazing. And walking through, people would like stop by and say hi. And there was just a culture there that was phenomenal. And then talking with Vin Bruno, it was clear that that was very much by design. That was the culture. It was who they wanted to be. And
I want this experience.
no, for real. Like we all walked out.
Jamie told me about the napkins, and I was impressed.
Greg, you want to show yourself and wave to the camera? I'll tell a positive story here, but I'm going to put Greg on the spot. This is Greg. Greg's the one that makes everything work for us, and so if we pick up a line like Crestron, obviously the concern's our bandwidth, and we don't have enough Greg to go around. Can we train our staff and our team? And we're pretty tapped out on what we manage already. And so for Greg, it's like, man, I don't know if we want to bite off another line, and it's going to be heavy programming. And the second we walked out of the door, he's on the phone with his wife, and he goes, it'll be really cool to carry Crestron. And Brad and I were like, whoa!
That was
you
quick.
sold Greg. Like, that was a hard sell. And I've been trying for like 5 years. Kid you not, we'll go to CEDIA and CES, and we'll be like, Greg, come check out Ping with me. And he's like, yeah, no, Like, we'll not go because we're just too tapped out already. But the experience was so great, it sold itself. Now, the product and everything, the shades, all those nuances, you know, talking about the video distribution, the different handheld remotes, their lighting, that was all sensational. But what really sold all of us was, again, the people that were there and the way they treated us. And if you're going to treat us and the clients that way, then this is a no-brainer.
The story.
The story.
I'm telling you, you saw the good, and that's great. Now, where I get even more excited is when you're in trouble, when the bad happens. Like, that's when you start really seeing everybody's true colors. And as someone that lives on the front lines with them, and I mean, I deployed a system for one of the largest hedge funds in the world, and we did a video wall, a brand new video wall. We were deploying DM, and we had a very limited time, to be there because, and every day is actually millions and millions of dollars. And the DM and the planar wall didn't want to talk correctly. HDCP wouldn't, images went black, and I remember I was in trouble.
Don't worry, everybody. Mike deep dives into geek speak, and he'll come back to English here in a minute.
But we'll start translating. But so the system stopped working, and I was in trouble. And I reached out to Crestron. I talked to ATSG. I told them my situation. I told them where I am. I told them what was going on. And Crestron said, go get some dinner. We got you, buddy. We are going to write custom firmware for you in real time. Give us a little bit of time, and we'll get back to you. You're going to be fine.
And I believe that after the experience we had. I would have thought that was hype. If you told me that before we went to Crestron, I would be like, that's great, Mike. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm. But after having been there and experienced that, I believe that. And I think that's what sold us on it, is that there's a whole team and an organization behind you that really wants to support you, and that came through. So we're excited. We've got to do some more stuff with you about Crestron because we can't get up and running fast enough to talk about it, but we'll team up.
Yeah, I would love to show you some more.
Cool
There's a lot of cool stuff, everything from deploying the ping and even conventional Crestron with simple, and they have the studio software where it's a nice little hybrid macro build, a little more like C4 based, which may be something.
For everybody that's watching that has questions about Crestron, we asked Mike, the age-old question about Crestron is, aren't they really expensive? And yeah, they're more expensive than some of the solutions, but Mike made the point, Crestron's like anything else. It just depends on the scale of the project. If you start with a 4-room project, it's going to be a pretty comparable price point. But if you want to do everything that Crestron's capable of doing, yeah, it's going to cost more because you're doing everything you possibly can. And I think that's important. A lot of people don't understand that about Crestron. We got to keep going, but go ahead.
When dealing with these, Mike brought up the issue, and you're going to love us when you have a problem. You never want to express that to a customer, but unfortunately, that's the way that this is happening. And if it is a premium, you're paying for that guy to get on the phone at that time, like Mike had, that other manufacturers might not be able to support you in such a situation, right?
Well, and everybody that's buying and investing into tech for their home wants it to work. And I think even when they understand that once in a while it's going to have some hiccups, they want to know that you can fix those quickly and address those. And I agree, you're paying to know it's going to work reliably and be taken care of.
It's no different than us rebooting our cell phone. Or not having signal or dropping a call. It's just technology that happens to have an issue every once in a while. But I guess Crestron really takes care of you right up front, and to have that phone call and code.
Yeah.
And again, we are all on boards. We're all on forums. We know all you guys out there. And this is impressive for me to hear and hear the Crestron story, because now I'm starting to buy into it a little more.
No, I thought Mike's going to be really enthusiastic. This will be a cool experience to see Crestron. We'll kind of, cross this off of our list. We'll win some goodwill with Mike, and we'll learn a little bit, and then we'll be on our way. And we all walked out of there and were like, man, we don't know how to carry Crestron right now, but if we can figure it out, we're going to, because it was a good experience.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. I'm telling you, the product makes sense. And even talking about price point and comparatively to the other ones, I know there are wireless speakers that you can buy out there. And you figure this speaker is going to cost you a range from $400 to $600 each one. Now that's per zone. Even comparatively pricing against that, I still can build cheaper systems.
Yeah.
So it really, you start looking at what truly things cost, and there are options to do these in a very inexpensive way. And honestly, and now with the advent of ping, you're able to scale out in the more normal conventional home, build it out very quickly, configure it right there from a touchscreen or an iPad, and also when lighting and things change where maybe the customer is not so into paying or may not financially want to go in so deep, they can make some of those adjustments themselves. And I think having a platform like that, really where before Crestron was really intended. You saw it really big in commercial where things must work, and even at the higher level where, you know, dealers always think, oh, it's just your TV, you're not watching TV. But you got to imagine, Crestron, it's not about that television, it's not about that music, it's about giving you that experience at home where it gave you your Zen moment. So it's bigger than what you're actually doing, and they understand that. And they get that their equipment is almost like therapy for you. You press it, you feel good, and you enjoy it. And when you press that button, it doesn't work, that you're ruining a major moment.
Well, and their product speaks for itself. I mean, it's top of the line. I think everybody accepts that Crestron's top of the line. We moving on from Crestron a little bit, and we have a video with the tour with Mike and his wife Jamie. We'll show you that. Jamie's here. She's hiding behind the camera, but Jamie's obviously the boss of the organization.
Come on, Jamie, let's get a wave. Let's get a wave.
She deserves all of. It's very clear here, no matter how great Mike seems, that Jamie deserves the credit. So
Totally.
we want to make sure she gets the credit. So, but we've got a fun video we'll share with you. Probably be about 2 weeks, but we'll put that out. We're looking forward to it. But Rob, really cool. Rob put us in touch with Theo Kalamarakis, and we had a chance to interview Theo, and didn't quite go the way we wanted. We wanted to have Rob more on camera, but Rob's the one that made it all happen and put it together. And Rob, much more so than us, is very passionate about sharing his story. And we got to be a part of that. And Theo, what an incredible experience and you know, because you've spent all this, everything that we heard was a very concentrated amount of what you've heard and learned from Theo, and it was amazing.
Continue to learn every day.
Yeah.
And now that I hang out with Mike a little more, we did 45 minutes talk about dynamic mounting, and it was like what I learned about Mike today, just going over that product. It's kind of mind-blowing on what he thinks and how his mind works.
Yeah.
And
we were talking about this. Mike's different things, but Mike's an artist the way Theo is. He's very, very passionate about it. He understands it on a different level. I think that's what makes you good at your job. You're not just selling widgets. You're very, very passionate about kind of the art, the tech, and how it all goes. We'll show you in a minute, but we're walking through Mike's shop, and normally you go into an AV shop, and it's like, here's where we build our rack. There's a spot on the floor, and here's where we store some gear. He's got like what looks like a wood carpenter's room back there for custom cutting metal racks and
fabricate all kinds of stuff.
It is an art here at Restrepo Innovations, so we'll show you. But Theo, a ton of fun, and I think a couple of highlights for me from the Theo thing, and I'd love for you to jump in. We asked him for his advice to dealers, and he said, and it was funny, I thought we would get kind of a cliche response, and he thought about it for a minute, and he goes, be brave. Be courageous to take your customers further. And he said they want to go there, they just need somebody to take them by the hand. And Theo's talked to me, and he's like, why don't you do more in your theaters? And I'm like, man, we do pretty cool theaters. And Theo's passionate and saying, why don't you do more? But what Theo really helped us understand is that your client already has dreams of taking it there. You've just got to kind of open the door for them and show them how to get there. And his idea of be brave, be willing to show your client they want to go there, just take their hand and show them. I thought that was pretty powerful stuff.
I find a lot of times Theo talks, it applies to any industry you want to take that advice from. And to be brave, not only in home theater, but if you're a mechanic or whatever you want to do, really get inside the mind of the homeowner. And we had that conversation, and the starry ceiling was one example. And I had said to him, I says, Matt, you know, the market is the market. People want a starry ceiling. They're going to want a starry ceiling. And I kind of stood my ground on that until Theo said, you're doing them an injustice because it's not personal. It's like seeing a red Ferrari and saying, hey, I want a red Ferrari. Meanwhile, there's Ferraris out there, but maybe some pinstripe or some kind of different paint job or something like that. So I love hanging out with him, man.
And he was great because he was talking to me about the starry ceiling, because that was one of the conversations we were having. And
Dude,
what could we do?
He loves to beat us up on that.
Yeah,
No.
So everybody was coming out with their own take. Now my take on the starry ceiling is that I went the other direction. Instead of doing stars, we did a low res with a gel. So I did clouds. So it was during the day, and you would see the sky, and clouds would move and everything. So it was almost, I went the other direction. You were outside on a nice day, and it moved and everything. So I created this motion so it felt alive in the space. And I 100, like, I didn't know he said that, but I feel those words, and it's really like we are blessed to have customers that want us to be brave, like he's saying, and really push, because it's almost like, you know, in Troy when they send out, they say, we're going to have war right now, but we all don't need to fight. Send me your champion. And we are their champion. And we are going out there, and we are doing that, and we have to put our best, we have to do our best and really push it. And every time we are doing something, every project that I'm doing, I am fighting me. I am fighting me on the last project, competing against myself, my own ghost, saying, if Mike was here standing and I was going to be better than Mike, what is Mike going to throw at me? And I'm sitting there fighting, and it's that I can't believe he said that, because I feel that be brave, go out there and just let it hang out, because you know what? If you don't, you still we all die, we all fail, like we all do these things, so you might as well go out on a limb and enjoy it and be passionate, so that if we get it to the end, and even if you didn't make it, you have a hell of a story, you know?
Well, and the thing that he pointed out about that is that at the end of the day, especially talking about theaters, the clients want to, we good guys? Mm-hmm. The clients want to have that experience. And they're not totally sure how far they can take it. And we can really help open their eyes of, look, you can take it further. And I think of the clients that, a lot of our projects that we won the awards for, the client gets all the credit. We walk into the room and say, what do you want to do here? Well, we think it would be cool to do a star ceiling. We think it would have, you know, this kind of odd-shaped baseball diamond theater that all the acousticians would kill you over. But that's what the client wanted and dreamed up. And you start opening that door with them and taking it a step further and a step further. And then the payoff for us is always when we get to see the client the first time you hand them the keys, and they sit down in there, and you know, they're laughing and dancing and having an experience with you, and that's the payoff. Theo and I talked about that when we were leaving the King's Theater. Mm-hmm. And he kept talking about his experience as a child, and I said, you know, it's funny, I relate to watching a movie with my dad, because growing up, when I watched a movie, it was always with my dad. And so when we do theaters for people and I see the family come together for the first time and watch a movie, that's like the ultimate payoff for me. But I think it's because that's what I relate to, is watching a movie with my dad. So we all kind of have our own reasons for enjoying it, but his passion for being brave and getting them the experience is fantastic. So, and then of course Reva was a blast. Vin was gracious.
Vin's awesome.
Huge fan of Vin.
That room was something else.
It was.
You know, you go in there and you see the detail and all that stuff, and you put these rooms together. The level, and to do it, like, you know, that was a room that you can truly call a theater. Like, too many of us, you know, put surround sound systems and we drop that theater name on it. It's like, it makes me laugh. It reminds me of being a kid and having the Honda and putting stickers on it and thinking I had a fast car. And it was like, I was like, I don't, you know, that's not a race car. But now, and I think theaters, you understand that home cinema, that home theater is different. It's not a surround sound system. And he brought it that, you know, when we're I know Rob is always great about saying, you know, attractions, not distractions. And even the soundproofing and all that, the room, you almost don't even need to watch a movie. You can go in there and it's your Zen place. You can go in there and read a book, because you are cut off from all your distractions and you're engulfed in your attraction and you're feeling it. And when you do these rooms right, they give you, like, you get the chills. You know, you feel them. You feel them. They're
well,
emotion.
and it was funny. Theo talked about it, and it really came home when we went to the King's Theater. And we'll show you this later. But he said, when you go to the old school theaters, each space cleansed you from the last space. So there was separation from the lobby to the auditorium. You didn't just walk straight from the lobby to the theater. You walked from the lobby to the ticket booth, and then after the ticket booth, you walked through another hallway, and it was to really prepare you to disconnect. And
Disney does it as well. You walk through the lines.
Oh yeah.
And then there's usually an area of, if it's a Star Wars movie, it's Star Wars stuff around you, and then you get on the ride, and then of course they lead you into the store.
Yeah,
to buy
They're
stuff.
just prepping you every step of the way. It's fantastic. So, Reva, I came away from Reva. I'm just a big fan of Theo and Vin. I like Theo and Vin. and wanted to be supportive of Reva, and honestly didn't think that we would sell or push the Reva brand, being totally candid. And spending the day with Theo and then getting to spend time with Vin and talking there at their shop, we all walked away and said, man, there's a lot here to be excited about, and I think that we will most likely sell Reva Theaters because it makes sense. Now, not all of our theaters would be, but we'll definitely look seriously at offering the Reva experience. It just makes sense.
I want it to be done on a Time Homes edition Reva Theater. I'm putting that out live and on film. I think that would be an awesome
We'd love
thing.
We'd love to, and make a big deal out of it.
Absolutely.
Well
and then you
deserved
can come
too,
to-
man. You had all
Yes.
kinds of your theaters are really badass, you know.
Theo Calmaracas you keep talking about.
TK.
Theo Calmaracas is the father of home theater, and we'll share this story here soon, but to give you just a real quick synopsis, when he started doing home theaters in the late 80s, home theater didn't exist. Like you couldn't go buy residential speakers or residential
Or
projector.
Yeah.
And he was just obsessed with the cinema, and he basically went and pestered the cinema for their gear they were throwing away. And he set it up at his own home, and he happened to be the art director for major magazines and publications, and so all of his friends were journalists, and they heard about this cinema that he pieced together in his own home that was unheard of. And they wrote articles about it, and all of a sudden, home cinema was born.
And the projector was from an airplane.
Yeah, the projector was from an airplane, and he was friends with the projectionist, and in fact, I think he's rented an apartment next to the projectionist. I'm probably getting my details wrong, but
When you guys run the store, it's going to be awesome.
But-
I
but
don't want
anyway,
to spoil the rest of it.
a lot of us don't realize it, that today when we buy a home theater, Theo legitimately pioneered it. And he got companies to start making residential speakers and residential projectors because people, and he's really actually pretty humble about it. He won't talk about it. He very much respects the privacy of his clients. He told some great stories about negotiating to have rights to photos but promising not to use names. But he's done theaters for all the who's who across the world.
Yes.
And he does a bunch of the IMAX theaters. He's designed commercial theaters. But anyway, that's who Theo is. And we went and met with Theo to help share his story and obviously to learn from Theo about cinema design. And I didn't know what to expect. He's a very passionate person, but he was as humble and as gracious as they can be. But I think the thing for us that was so special was just getting to feel his passion for the better part of 2 days. And how can you not walk away from that excited? But then, then Vin, kind of shifting back to Reva, Vin's passion for what Theo's done and being a part of Reva and kind of sharing the vision with Theo of where we can take theaters the next decade is a lot of fun to be around as well.
But
and
who's
so
Vin? Not to cut you off, but who's Vin? Because as much as we're talking about Theo is definitely somebody, and not to take no credit away from that man. You can't, even if I tried. But
so
Vin as well is a somebody, and we saw him come up in various industries. He worked at Crestron. He was the CEO of Cedia. He helped pioneer AV-Link Pro, migrating, Nest into various touchscreens and all these technologies. And now seeing him segue into Reva and really take that, he has been one of these components that has really been passionate to pushing it. And honestly, it was a breath of fresh air to hear that he was at Reva.
Well, that's what I told Vin yesterday. I said, I've been a fan of yours. To be totally candid, and I told Vin this, I haven't known who Vin was for very long, maybe 6-8 months when I put the pieces together. But I've been a very big fan of what he's done and who he's done and kind of watched where he's been in the industry. And when I heard that he was chairing and becoming the CEO of Reva, I was very excited. I'd met him and talked with him a little bit, and I think he and Theo are an incredible group there. And everybody,
Very
Abhi,
dynamic.
There's a ton of. That's the thing that's special about Reva. For our dealers that are out there that are watching, there's some misconceptions about what Reva is, and we'll talk about this later, but Reva at its core is giving you the very best specifications and design for the absolute perfect theater that your client can have in their budget. And then basically giving it all to you to go and get the credit for giving them that perfect theater. And you're going to use, we're not going to get into this because I don't want to missay anything, but as you understand the model there, it's a no-brainer. Just an absolute no-brainer. Now, like I said, we wouldn't use Reva on all of our theaters, but for a lot of clients that want to get into acoustic treatments and they want to have a very well-designed theater from experts like Theo and Vin, it's a no-brainer. And we're excited to get more involved there. So,
and that depth as a company, you know, not everybody is going to understand rooms at that level. Because even walking in that room and seeing all the design elements, I at one point even had to tell Theo, like, we're sitting in this room and your room is so cool, it's almost too cool.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like 90% of people walking in here are looking around, they're like, it's a cool room. We're gonna have to stop them and be like, here is why it's cool, you're not understanding.
I just think it was cool. We're still talking in my headset. I still think it's cool that I'd like to hear your reaction before and after you visit the show.
yeah, so let me tee this up a little bit. And so Greg, just if you couldn't hear him on the mic, Greg says he wants to hear Mike's reaction of Reva before and after, and I think we had a similar one. We met Mike at Crestron, and Mike's like, look, you guys are talented. You don't need Reva's help. And after you went to Reva, you had a different reaction.
Yeah, honestly, even going to Reva, like the cookie cutter selection, that it's almost in the opposite of what my real focus. We're very custom, very hands-on. We make and we put passion and all that into it. And, you know, that's kind of our sauce. And I said that to you, like, you guys are smart, you could do it. I'm always pushing people to believe in themselves.
Which we
push
appreciate.
yourself. Yeah, because I believe in it, and you've done some badass stuff. So, but the reality is,
Thank
you know,
Thank
yeah.
you.
But
Mike
after going-
Restrepo says we do good stuff. We've arrived. We can move on.
he's got the stamp of approval. He's
we should do that.
Restrepo
We'll
approved.
patent that.
But
Trademark it.
So, but after going in there and realizing not everybody is us. Not everybody is going to understand. Not everybody's going to have. Oh, well, some will as they go through. And we've probably, you know, I can talk for myself. I've made mistakes. I've gone as I've learned. You know, everything from the platform isn't high enough to, like, you know, I could tell you a million things that I did that were wrong because of being immature in the market and just learning. And every time you fail, yeah, you learned, but they are felt like ripples in the industry because your failures are felt by other people. Now, if we can cut some of these failures out and make more wins and bring everybody up, as an industry, it will help all of us because we will not have those people with those mediocre systems. Now, everybody will get what they truly paid for and will be happier. Plus, it will, in essence, give the dealers training wheels for them to go as deep or pull back as much as they want. And another amazing factor is instant gratification. There is something to say about the light switch. People go to it. No one ever hates the light switch. You switch it, it turns on, you got instantly what you want. To be able to say, all right, you want a theater, you like it, here's your number, in a week it's done. That is, at that level, that is next to impossible. And to have such turnaround and all that, to me, that was, it was a brainer. Like, honestly, even us looking at it, and I know what I said, and then even at us, like, I was in there ready to sign up to be a premier dealer.
Yeah,
I was
Jamie
like,
stopped you.
Yeah. Jamie.
Oh, right under
Yeah.
the bus.
Theo,
Sorry, Jamie.
Theo, no,
It was
I was
Theo.
signing up. Vin,
Oh, yeah.
I was signing.
Mike was reaching for his wallet.
I was like, you want a credit card? I'll even get cash. Like, what do I need to do?
Oh my gosh.
Jamie was like, no, Mike, we got to talk about this first.
Jamie, you're smart. That's why you're in business, because you're the wise head.
Oh,
So
I always compare Reva to buying a car. I love to go back to cars, so you would not go and get all these pieces we as mechanics do, and that's what you've been doing. Get this.
Oh, yeah.
And,
And,
then
and you
now
know,
with
you know,
Reva, you're buying it from Enzo Ferrari.
And I would say too that, look, I know there's some phenomenal theater designers out there that would want to do their own thing and could do it as well or better, and that's great. But for the average client who had the opportunity to walk into a home theater that was done to the specs that Reva is requiring us do a theater, would know, they would hear and see an immediate difference. And if you think about it, our clients, they're not in the space like us. They don't hear the nuance. Most of our clients don't hear the nuances. They don't see the nuances that we see. Mm-hmm. They might not be able to articulate it, but they would walk into a theater of that caliber and they would know instantly that it's a superior theater. They would hear it, they would see it, they would feel it. Even if we didn't tell them that it was Theo or who Theo was, it was just like, here's the theater, go experience it, tell you what you think. they would feel it, they would hear it, they would see it, and that would be cool.
That is one of the best things, and honestly, something that Theo and I we kept going on and on about is quality control. Because both of us, like, I obsess about everything. I mean, like, crooked stuff drive me crazy.
You've been to
Everything.
his house.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like, I've been to his home. I've been to now there, and the level of detail, like, I felt my OCD calming down with him.
Yeah.
Because he felt it, he understood it, and he got it. Because it was like, things have to be perfect. And I remember asking, but what if the customer, he said, then you know what? If the customer wants to do something different, then they should go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I wanted to hug him.
One of the things that's, we've got to move on, but one of the things that's interesting about Theo, I think, is you'll hear people like, if Theo's associated with Reva, they're going to want to do a whole bunch of elegant themes and whatnot, and Theo's not that way at all. His own theater is very minimalist, modern theater. All of Reva's theaters that you see are that way, but one of the things that's fascinating about Theo is, as passionate as he is about the dedicated room, he gets that the design has to be appropriate for the application and budget. So he's totally open to an open theme theater. He's totally open to a media room. He gets that that's not going to be as good technically as the dedicated space, and he would do different things for both spaces, but once you give him the framework he's working in, then he's passionate about the set of cards you've given him to play with. He's not so rigid. I guess what I'm saying, he's very open-minded, and even though he's passionate, he's been at it, he's very open-minded, and I thought that was commendable. Let's talk for a minute so we don't get...
Starry ceiling.
Wait, hold on, because I actually want to touch upon what you just said.
How about it?
Because that was something that Theo, when he was talking to me, he told me was a very important point. That these rooms are going to go in and they're not perfect. Things have to be adjusted. As you were saying, he will adjust the room, and that was something that about the Reva system, because you're putting in a room that won't be exact. Speakers may be not in the right spot. Things may need to be moved around, and that was one of the premises of one of the reasons why what made Reva so awesome is that it was more forgiving.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in a custom space, we are talking 16th perfect, and nothing is forgiving, and every mistake costs thousands of dollars. And he is giving us a space that is forgiving. Your speaker's not here, it's fine. And even where he was talking about the sound panels and how his first generation said, yeah, the hole is here. And he said, no, that's not going to work because the hole is not always there. And then it gets moved. And then what do we do? And he's like, yeah, we're going to make it so that will accept that change. And that's going deeper into your exact idea that he's understanding that things need to be able to move around. Things have to be fluid in essence in these rooms, and things aren't always perfect. The room isn't always straight. There are variables that come up at the last moment. But the system must be forgiving. Yeah. It must install in that guideline, that ideal, that instant gratification, that has to happen.
And we've all been there where it's a $100,000 job and the client doesn't care, he wants it done in 2 days. And with the Reva system, you'll be able to pull that off and it'll still have superior quality. We got to keep going because we've got a lot of stuff still to cover that I want to get to. But talk to us about what you're doing. This is more for dealers. Most of what we're going to cover here, for those of you that are watching from here on out, is really going to be dealer driven. You're welcome to watch, but for, well, yours is for consumers too. But
yeah, but I'm
talk
flipping
to us
the
about
script first, bro.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's hear it. What you're doing for the industry, I wanted to talk about that. I really wanted to, and let the industry know that you guys don't go out and talk about yourselves. I see you with Fortress, anybody can go to YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and I spoke to you guys before about that. Anybody who's doing the social media, Chris Netto, Mark Coxon, those guys out there that see this, they know how much work is put into it. And I just want to hear some story, what's going on with time, how did it start? And I don't know if anybody's ever asked you these questions or we could find the answer somewhere, but I want to hear them personally.
I do want to know too.
We all go through, we know
Inquiring
what we're
minds
doing.
wanna know.
We know you wake up first thing you're doing and before you go to bed.
Like, do you put on both pant legs at the same time?
No, but the first thing you do is whisper.
Do we have the video of me forgetting my shoes? I wish we had the video of me forgetting my shoes.
He doesn't even wear shoes. Like that must be a Utah thing.
And one of the things, I'm saying the engagement before you go, there's a lot of engagement that you guys do. You don't just put content out. You're engaging.
I think it's sort of evolved, to be totally candid. right now, we really enjoy, and I mean this sincerely, we really, really enjoy sharing people's stories from throughout the industry. You know, this is a lot of fun for us to get to show the Restrepos and what they're about and to do a quick tour. And it's, you know, it's this big, but if a few people get to see it, that's fun for us. Getting to share Theo's story. We've done a lot with True Audio, and we're going to go do a factory tour with True Audio. It's fun. We enjoy sharing the story. Right now, we don't get paid for anything that we do. We just enjoy doing it. It's going to be interesting to see how things evolve here in the next few months. But where it all began is we came from a door-to-door home security background. That's what I did. I was a door-to-door salesman. I flipped homes, the market crashed, and I got into door-to-door sales. And I hated security. I didn't mind the door-to-door. I just thought home security was boring. I think it's valuable. I just think it's a boring space. So I wanted to get into something more fun. Greg and I were eating pizza.
But from the leading, like you kind of watered it down. Because I got to admit, I've done a ton of homework on you, buddy. Ton of homework. I won't throw any bones out there, but I definitely, let's talk about it. You were attached to one of the leading alarm companies that have an army of salespeople. The only other company I think can talk of that level would be like Merck, you know, where you have a pharmaceutical pushing a product. That brand, they sold nationwide, they sold everywhere, and the level of their sales, I know some Utah boys that came out to Jersey to sell some of that product, and you see them pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, and really, and you can see where that training, you grabbed it and you threw your little time magic on it, and now that's what you see. This is like that on steroids. Like, it's amazing.
So, and we talked about this a little bit on your podcast, and this gets a little bit into our secret sauce here. So we're gonna keep it safe here, Mikey. Don't ask me too many questions. But the gist of it is that when you go door to door, you have the opportunity to hit a bigger market, because there are people who are willing and able to buy your product today. It's not on their radar right this second. They're not actively thinking about it. But when you get in front of them and you present it right, they're very willing to buy it. You just have to stimulate that need, that want, that desire, get them excited about it. And door-to-door sales is fascinating because I know there's mixed emotions about it, but the people who do it right and ethically understand that when you first meet a client, you're just trying to buy time with the prospect. It's not about selling them. It's not about closing the deal. It's just about buying one more minute of their time. And then it transitions into gathering interest and asking questions. What are you interested about? What are you concerned about? How can I help you? And in that process, you develop a bond. The client starts to trust you, and they feel like you can give them something of value and that they can trust you, and then you deliver the goods. And there's a whole psychology that goes into it. We started out as a door-to-door home security company. We left doing door-to-door for the other company, and that's where we started out. But we always wanted to be doing smart homes and automation. We didn't want to be doing security. That was just our financial door in. And as soon as we could transition into AV, that's what we did. I was really frustrated by the way the industry sells. If you're a brand new dealer today and you go out and you talk to other dealers, how do I sell? How do I produce sales and clients? Everybody says go work with builders. So we worked with builders. It's a disaster. And now I have some builders that are close friends that I love dearly, and I'm very happy to work with builders. But this idea that the builders are the holy grail was a disaster. It almost put us out of business. We're still recovering from some things that happened with us with a couple of projects we had because it was just a disaster. So then it's like, okay, how do we achieve volume that a security company does? What's the digital equivalent of door-to-door sales?
Digital equivalent.
Yeah, and I thought I was a really smart guy and had come up with something that nobody else had, and I come to find out there's a whole world of people and industries that are using digital sales and internet marketing, but it's done the same way door-to-door sales are done. And so when I found that, it just clicked. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. And we're still kind of stepping through and figuring it out. and we try stuff all the time that flops miserably.
But they fail the same way that do it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I sold septic cleaner in a septic system cleaner in the Midwest, and that sales taught me so much. So
Yeah.
I use those memories, and I watch some of the things you do, and and it's funny because you watch Forbes, you watch some of the major magazines talk about the concepts that you clearly have known for a long time, and it's the empathy for the customer. Is getting into the customer's mind and finding out what they need and creating that value proposition where it's not a finance thing, it's a value thing.
Well, and to that point, and getting back to your original question, what's happened is that was the catalyst. That's what inspired it. And I didn't know where to go, so I started going to conventions. I've read dozens and dozens of books, seminars, webinars, thousands of dollars, and even more hours, immersing myself in it as much as I can. And what's happened organically is that where we have the most fun and seem to get the most return at the same time is when we just share. Yes, sir. Sorry. It's just when we just share information, and I'm passionate, genuinely passionate about trying to make sure that when a client, doesn't have to be my client, when your client buys a system from you, Mike Restrepo, and they move in and they get their system and you give them the keys and they fire it up, I'm passionate about that client getting the experience they believe they purchased. I don't care what the experience is, I just want whatever they believe they purchased to match what they actually did buy. And I'm seeing that educating is it's the only way we can achieve that. And when we achieve that as an industry, clients are going to be happier, we're going to sell more stuff, clients are going to do more cool things, they're going to get geeked out on automated shades and Theo Calmaracas style theaters. It's going to help the whole industry. And we have a lot more fun, we've found as a company, when a client comes to us that's heavily educated. It's such a phenomenal experience. They know what they want, they know what the experience is that they're going to get. We don't have the service nightmares, we don't have the warranty headaches. That's not to say that there aren't hiccups that we work through, but the expectations are set and it's a done deal. So now, this has kind of evolved into people like you saying, hey, come to town and do something with Theo. Mm-hmm. And we're not making anything for doing that. We're having a ton of fun doing it. We believe that it benefits everybody, and somewhere along the line, we get paid for it in a roundabout way and it works out. So we're kind of just feeling it out, but we genuinely enjoy doing this. This is fun. And it's achieving all the things that I set out to do with digital sales. It's a really long answer.
No,
that's it.
It's not long enough. I mean, what you guys are doing for the industry as far as bringing awareness, the education to the homeowner is invaluable. I talk to people and they say, well, I don't know what Sonos is. And you guys are bringing that to the forefront. In smart home, we keep seeing 25 billion by 2019 or whatever that industry is going to, and we don't know, no one knows the numbers obviously because none of them align, but we know that it's coming, and to educate on a personal level.
And you have to, and to dealers who see it and are wondering, I genuinely mean this. We pick up some sales all around the nation. We have one here in New Jersey, two actually. We have one in Boston. We have one in Tennessee. We have a couple in Miami, some in California. And that's great for us. That feeds us. It keeps us in business. But I genuinely hope. I had a guy in Miami stop me at CEDIA. I believe his name's TJ. And he walked up to me and he goes, dude, I had a client. He wouldn't buy the stuff I was telling him he needed. I told him to watch your videos. And he came back to me a week later and said, I understand it now. I'll buy it. That's gold to me. I don't care that we personally didn't make that. The fact that that integrator got a better experience and a better situation with a client, that's everything. That's payoff.
But think about that concept, how old that concept is. Ford spoke about when he made the vehicle. And he's like, if I asked people what they wanted, I'd have a faster horse. And he had to educate people to even want the car. Like, why get the car? And that historically has always worked.
And it will
best.
always work going forward. Whatever the medium is, right now it's social media, and I think it will continue to be some version of social media, but as it becomes virtual reality and it's more social and virtual, it's not going to change. It's going to be who can educate, and the education creates a bond. So what you guys are doing, I can't buy stuff from you in Utah, but I have a bond with Rob because of the information and the value he's given. I trust him. I think he's a good dude. I want to support him. And if I could buy stuff from, we talked, we said if we sign up with Rava it's conditional on us getting to sign up under Rob. And he's not our rep.
I guess I'm going to Utah.
And if Vin
We are
and
going to
Theo say
Utah.
no, I'm dead serious about this. I'm not going to carry Reva unless I got to do it under Rob. And that's because of the bond that he's established by putting stuff out there for us. And that's what we do when we don't worry about the prices and we don't worry about what we make and we just put the value out there and it will come back to us. Now, for us, the question is we sit back and we go, okay, we have to make money. Where is this going to come? And doors keep opening and we keep seeing little avenues to go down and follow. And that will be different for everybody. Go for it.
Isn't it amazing when you first had this, not this concept, but when you first started thinking, you had the aha moment. And how long ago was it? How long have you been?
Honestly, about 4 years.
4 years.
I mean, this isn't, guys see this and they think, oh man, Matt just came out of nowhere and time's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's been 4 years of ugly grind.
Don't you love it? Oh,
Yeah.
you're lucky. Really, dude? The last 4 years I've been lucky? That's old Gary Vee for you, right? Lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've made so many mistakes and so many bombs.
Right.
And even now, we're just scratching the surface.
I know from my own that you see it one way, and then all of a sudden, even what's happened from yesterday to today with what's happened is amazing. And people, they just open up the door. Vin Bruno was my entry point into Reva and how that's all let out and just putting up a video and where I thought that was going to go and the whole smart home. And it's
Talk to us about National Smart Home.
National Smart Home. I'm dragging you guys with me.
I think
you
it's
don't have a
cool.
choice.
That's fine.
I don't. You know,
I've definitely drank the Kool-Aid on
I don't
this.
want to be. I don't want to. I don't.
This is Rob's, by the way. He's going to tell you it's not, but it is.
It's not
This is
mine.
Rob's.
This is his.
So here's the way I look
Rob
at
is
the
definitely
industry.
the guy for all of us.
I look at the industry and I say it's top heavy. When you look at a pyramid, it's got a very wide base. It's a good structure. The building we were in yesterday, second floor, good structure. I think our industry is in a lot of trouble right now because you see these manufacturers popping up every day, manufacturing product and asking you guys, you need to install it, you need to buy it. You have reps like me calling you. It's the end of the month, literally. And how many phone calls and emails are you going to get of, you need to buy this
Quotas.
for your
Here's a
rewards
spiff.
points.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're going to give you a discount if you buy it today, but on October 1st, the price is going to go up. That frustrates me because I was an integrator. I did work in that realm, and I couldn't deal with those. Like, how many phone calls am I going to get? How many emails am I going to get about this sale? So I look at the organizations that are running the industry, and it's sad to me because it costs a penny on Facebook for me to get in front of the homeowner. So I was watching Gary Vee one night, and I'm trying to figure this out as a new. I tried to put the pressure on my old boss. That's how this came about. Okay, so I said, listen, I quit. I didn't really want to quit. And they said, okay, Rob, have a good one. And I was like, wow, now what do I do? So I had built up this social media presence, and I wanted to be different. And the things that I do now is everything that I brought to the past employers that I had. We need to do this, we need to do that. So coming into National Smart Home, it says, how could we engage with homeowners because you found it frustrating with the builders, the architects, the designers. I've heard it all. You got to go and get with the interior designers. You have to talk to the architects. In the late 90s into the early 2000s, the homeowner was accessible for some reason. I just feel integrators were buying a lot more. Maybe it was the economy. I don't know what it was. And then mid-2000 to today, you talk to distribution, you talk to integrators, it's go after the builder, go after the architect. Listen, whoever's closest to the homeowner wins. And that's it. And instead of me spending a day calling you, let me figure out a strategy on a Facebook ad that engages with a homeowner, and then I align them with an integrator in the area. And now when the integrator sees my phone number ringing on their phone, it's like, Rob's got something. So I did that as the tech reps. And then I was sitting again and I said, how do I get this to be, let's create a holiday. You hear the Hug a Lizard Day, or it's Teacher Day.
National Dog Day.
Right, listen, we all know these are silly things, but culture and society, I tell Theo all the time, we're a very pop Hollywood culture. So I said, let me create National Smart Home Day. Let me back end that with a nationalsmarthome.org website and get industry people like yourself that understand where this is going and bring it together for the homeowner again. Because they are completely lost and have no idea unless they catch a video from you or an insight on Crestron, but it's not a Crestron-driven website. It's not a channel-driven website. It's a Angie's Craigslist house website where the homeowner will not get lost. I'm going to look for a home theater, but then, oh my God, Joanne's hairdresser is here, and Mike's Mechanics is here. And it's just a home for all of us to congregate
For tech.
and put out there. So
And I think it's a great idea. It's funny. I haven't had a chance, honestly, to look at it too hard until just a few days ago, and I was looking at it. And I was like, this is really, really bright. It makes all kinds of sense. I think about it'll benefit us too, but I think about the dealer that's just getting going, that's struggling to get that first deal.
absolutely.
And having basically a national register like that of dealers in your area, and what a great way to get leads. There's a lot to like about
Even
it.
manufacturers, a new manufacturer comes out and puts his stuff on Amazon, it's impossible to find them. If you can come to nationalsmarthome.org, and we promote those new manufacturers that we vet and trust in, and put them on there, I think it's an easier sell and easier.
And not for nothing, most rep firms aren't even going to carry your product unless you have $1 million sales going anyway. So the reality is we have a lot of product out there coming up from from people inside our country that aren't doing $1 million of sales.
It's
But
still a good product.
Yeah, they're amazing product, but they're just because there are some major players at the top that can eschew the perspective of what everything is. And but at the same time, we do need to support these people. And I think having something like National Home, we can start possibly trying to push more into these products and showcasing them, talking about them, and having a conversation.
One of the things that you two both do really, really well, and I admire you for, and you can ask my guys, they'll tell you, I play everything pretty close to the chest. And I had an experience when we first launched Time that almost put us out before we even got started with, I'll tell you more off camera. But it ruined me psychologically. I play everything close to the chest. And one of the things that's been really difficult for me with the social media is to learn to be more open to collaborating with you. You talk about, positive collaborative competition.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are great at that, and you're gonna have to pull me along a little bit. But I do think we can do a ton of good together as an industry. There's always going to be competition because we've got to feed ourselves, but we can work and bring a ton of good to everybody out there.
So
And I admire what you guys are doing.
Here's what you got to think, and I always say this, and people listen to me, they'll say, I know. I always talk about Michael Jordan. Now, as kids, I think you're a little younger than me, but maybe it's LeBron for you growing up. But everybody on my block wanted to be Michael Jordan. Everybody on the next block, and in the next neighborhood, and
You've
around
got it
the
all wrong. I
world.
wanted to be Magic.
Magic. Okay, Magic. One of my
Keep going.
idols.
Keep going.
Everybody
So-
wanted to be like Mike. I went with Mike,
If
man.
you multiply the amount of people that wanted to be Michael Jordan, how many actually did become not very many. So you have no problem with this because you're on that. You're very well. You're very good. So as long as you try to be the best, and one of the things that I can't stand is when somebody is always trying to compete with the other player. Jordan didn't go onto the court and say, I'm going to go against Magic tonight. He said, I'm going to play the court, I'm going to play the ball, and I'm going to play the hoop, and that was it. If he started to look around and see what was going on, which many of us do in the industry, that's when you start to lose what's going on, because as soon as I start to focus on what Time is doing, then I'm kind of funneling myself into your way, and I might miss something I should have did on my own.
Well,
So-
like National Smart Home,
National Smart. Yeah.
which I think is brilliant. I think it's cool.
I think it's
Same
going to be
here.
a lot of fun.
And
I think.
I'm happy to be a part of
I
it.
think you don't compete. Don't compete with the guy in Utah,
We got to go to the think tank.
dude. Let's go.
Rob says he's going to say we think tank. We got to wrap up because this has been long. But before we wrap
Yes.
up, we want to give you a quick tour of Restrepo Innovation. This is not actually an AV shop. This is a party pad. They've got huge speakers and what is it, like 3 subwoofers over there.
They're six 22-inch subs.
What do you got, Rob?
Before we wrap up, the guys running, Jamie, we love you.
yeah,
We always
yeah.
love you. But your brothers, I can't express the passion. I guess the passion that we have for what we do. I always wondered how this worked, the 3 brothers, and I'd be a little jealous if I was behind the camera, like Matt. He says, Mr. Matt Montgomery. But what I'm saying is they love exactly what they're doing.
So happy to
And
be,
big shout outs to these guys and the enthusiasm. It was like almost walking into the restaurant today. Like they're all smiling and like miking you up, and it's such a cool
And
thing.
it's hard to do all this
Right?
stuff, man. It's a lot of
mean it.
tech
and,
here.
and I say this, and everybody thinks it's tongue in cheek. I'm not, and you guys will learn this as you spend more time with me. I'm not a technical person at all. I grew up playing basketball and wakeboarding, and I could not care less about anything technical. I was never going to go into a technical industry. I'm not a technical person, but I always loved smart homes. I always had a thing about smart homes. That was the allure that drew me in. We couldn't do what we do without Greg. I get all the credit. I joke around at it's like some of these bands like U2. You know, like I'm Bono, but the drummer is the one that's actually
Right. Like Gene
responsible
Simmons and
for
Paul
the
Stanley.
band. Greg's responsible for all that we do, and Brad, as we've gotten into the social media, he does our websites, he does our graphics, all the stuff you're seeing on this Facebook Live, the lower thirds, the videos that drop in, all of our YouTube videos, it's all Brad and Greg. I get to be lucky. I get to spend the whole day with Theo, but you're right,
Yes.
these guys do all the work.
They do all the work, but for the homeowners
they
watching at
enjoy it.
home, you're not all the magic. Like what you get that whole restaurant experience with time, because they're smiling. You know, they're welcoming. It's very.
And
friendly.
I would say that just for the guys that'll see this, just behind them, they're not nearly as cool as these guys. But we have a phenomenal team back in Salt Lake that makes it possible for us to pack up and leave for a week and not worry that the place is going to burn down. And that's worth something too. It's taken us a long
And
time
you
to get
read
that.
it,
You
like
dodge
some
the-
of the recommendations, not to cut you off,
Yeah.
but on Facebook, you know, again, because I'm really big about doing homework on people. Now, reading through, I've basically read every comment about you. And,
There's some nasty ones on there. So
oh
people
yeah,
hate us.
even some undermined compliments. I wanted to write a couple people. I'm not sure you're being nice, but all right, that's a whole other topic. They were probably from Jersey, but no. But some people, you know, all jokes aside, but you heard some really positive, nice things about your team, even about you and all that, and you see these posts and you see it from the people, and you get that when you're passionate and you do it. There's so many dealers, there's so much doing it instantly. It's like a flag. If you're not into it, it shows up right away.
Well, and that's why I think when we saw you, it was so obvious. Like, this is a cool dude. We got to get to know him. What were you about to say?
You dodged the bullet because you're out of town for the end of the phone calls.
Oh,
If you
dude,
got to buy this,
thank
man.
goodness.
Oh.
Dude, my email though, I have a lot of people in my email that want to kill me. So all of our friends out there, we're sorry. We are going to be back from our 1 month tour and answering your emails again.
I don't
Let's
know,
do a
move-
tour.
Yeah.
Show us the party pad, and then we're going to close up. So we got 5 minutes. You got to show us the archery. Carry your mics with you.
Oh, everybody got their mics?
Don't touch
Well,
it. Don't touch it.
Hold on,
Who's-
let's show you
whose
some
camera?
speakers. Let's show you some speakers. So,
Whose camera?
Camera right now.
So follow Mike.
camera.
I'll be in
OP
it. I'll be in
camera.
it. But you're driving, Jamie.
so we like to show off, and when we test speakers and test people's stuff, most people are like, all right, we're going to demo some speakers. Now, that's all good and dandy, but you need to have a control. So we usually play
with
these.
like 3 floor standing.
Yeah, and then we like, when they're like, oh, it has some bass, and then we all chuckle in here like bass, show them what bass looks like. And then this is what bass really looks like. It's 6 21-inch subs.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
ridiculous.
it's all there. We're running Fulcrum. I mean,
Yeah, I
like
was gonna say,
some,
look at this.
like this is our rack. Some of the stuff that we got pushing some of this gear, this is what you're gonna see in major stadiums. You know, this is the kind of stuff you go on tour or you see a major show.
Do your neighbors ever complain? We
Or-
play it every
You
once
want
in
to
a
laugh?
while.
Before you came here, the neighbor came in here was like, "Can you put it down?"
Dude, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
We're gonna put it up, and I'll let you feel the bass because this thing, when it really kicks, literally can take the air out of your chest. Like, it's amazing, and it just goes. You know, we keep having fun everywhere.
I wanna point out. So Mike is gonna show us the cool tech, but Jamie, who does all the work, this is where the work actually happens. So
Yeah.
Mike's gonna show us all the toys, but to be very clear, what happens here at Restrepo, this is where the work gets done, and this is Jamie's space. So.
And literally, like, our space is the epitome of cooperative competition because, you know, we share our space with another company, Synapse, and we're so big. And again, we're cooperative competition. Do we compete? Yes. Sometimes they do resi, sometimes I do commercial. But the reality is we really don't compete. We help each other. We're complementary to one another.
Face your wife.
We're complementary to one another, and it helps out, you know, where we can share ideas. One of the partners, he's an actual audio engineer, and the other partner is a lighting engineer, and having this camaraderie and that depth allows us to do some projects that most people wouldn't even dare touch. And even we make things where others were like, oh, I'm gonna go buy something. We're like, why are you gonna buy it? We'll just make it. And what I'm talking about, that's a custom chandelier. That took a lot of creativity and everything. We grabbed a piece, ripped it apart, and said, let's
Hey,
make
let's come over
something
here so they
cool
can
and
see
new.
it.
full LED, RGB. We can control every single light. We can control how it goes, how it touches, everything. So that these are one-of-a-kind pieces that we can deploy in your home, may it be in your conference room or foyer or whatever. And this is, again, more of those ideas that we do one-of-a-kind parts. Even testing equipment now.
This kills me.
Now, we, you know, Rob was nice enough to have us team up with Dynamic Mounts. We brought in one of their products in and we say, hey, you know what? It's not 100% done, but let's play with it. Let's, you know, I'm always big with let's break it. You know, so we installed it, we started messing with it, like, hey, let's make it do stuff. Let's see how it breaks. And that's why we're good at what we do, is because we bring it in-house. We literally torture test equipment, and we see what is it going to do? How is it going to break? You know, what do I have to do? You know, how is the best way? And I'll be honest, sometimes we get product, and we'll literally take it apart and put it together our own way. And be like, this is actually a better way to do your product, you know?
And send it back.
Yeah, and look,
Yes.
honestly, and send it back.
Dynamics watch this going, oh my gosh.
Oh no. But yeah, so they might get it back. No, but it's been a great product, amazing price point, very quiet. And again, it's about testing cool stuff and playing with it, as you can see. And we like to showcase various touchscreens and buttons and blah,
Okay,
blah, blah.
show
But
us
come back, there's more toys.
This is the real play zone. So Mike's giving us a tour earlier, and he takes us into their wood shop. And he's like, hey, here's where I'm thinking we're going to build racks in here. It's like, no, this is our metal saw to custom fab media racks and build whatever we want to. Like,
Yeah, 'cause, you know,
have a hard time installing speakers.
You don't want to be doing this kind of intricate work. And plus, when you start cutting into stuff and really making it, it has to be perfect. You know, you don't want it to look like you just DIY'd something. You know, it has to look almost like factory made.
Next time we're here, we should have done this, but next time we're here, we've got to go to like the Tennyson project, one of your projects.
Oh, love it.
And do this to show, because it's easy to sit here and say that you do the custom stuff, but we got to go to a site where you've done some really cool custom stuff and show everybody.
Yeah, we have to show, because like, say a rack. You know, a rack is a particular size, and rack comes in very specific sizes. Now, door openings tend to be all the same size around the house. Wouldn't it be a nice detail if the rack was the same size as every door in the house? That was the kind of detail. Those are the little bits that really make people excited. So we had to customize the rack so it fit in the same opening as every other door in the house, so that everything looked symmetrical and uniform. I know it sounds a little OCD, but it came out amazing, and it really made my mind good.
There's the people out there that will pay you for that because they know that's the kind of quality they're going to get from you. We have a guy named Randy that used to work for us that used to, Randy probably won't see this, but it's going to make me laugh. He was committed to bow hunting and getting his first kill with it, and he never did until he'd been at it for like 10 years. But Randy, you could have shot 100 deer right here with your bow.
Oh yeah.
Would have gotten it the first day out. So.
And the beauty about New Jersey is, there is a hunt in New Jersey. So actually the boys are right now, they're hunting in Saddle River around here. They actually have a feeder out, and they help the state kill off the deer. So you're seeing, this is where they test and they play. And we got all kinds of bows and everything, and that was an actual animal at one point.
And you've got the projectors that come out.
Yeah, and again, it's more toys. It's totally being immersed in the toys, and we have the projectors, because what's going to teach your guy how to install it but doing it? What's going to show your guy?
You actually bring guys in here and have them like take that down and redo it?
Yeah,
and stuff?
A lot of manufacturers bring equipment and they'll showcase new stuff, and they actually use our location as a pivot point for them. So, and as you were saying, the guys go through it. Even they'll be, here they'll build out lighting systems and understand it so that when they go on site, it just gets installed right away. And even like our rack thing, we leave all the shelves, everything is laid out, so it's like a factory. Like,
it'd be so nice to build a rack in a space like this.
Because we have more parts than
everything.
you ever need. So any rack, custom shelves, custom everything. So you're just pulling, making it out and then pushing it out. And then it comes out great because, we always, we're real big music, and so we got kick-ass music. You know what I mean? So,
and it was fun to hear when we came in.
Oh, definitely. And again, we have fun here, and that passion about having fun. If you're not having fun at work, it blows.
Well,
you're not getting
it's what Rob and I were saying. You're good at what you do, but you're an artist, and that's the difference. It's that kind of next level where you're not just smart, you're not just a geek, you're an artist, but you're passionate about it, and that translates to your clients. and it makes sense why you never run out of work.
When I go to his, I see a lot of dealers. I go to a lot of job sites. When I go to his, it's relaxed. And you know yourself, a lot of dealers are running out of that house before something goes wrong. He's just walking around, just moseying around the house, and it's very comforting. It's weird.
No, but that's to his credit.
You know?
All right, we got to wrap up.
Yes, sir.
This has been a blast. Rob, get in a shot. Who's
Yeah,
camera?
come on.
Who's camera?
Is
Closing
this,
shot. This has been a
come on.
blast. Thanks, everybody,
Let's get him in here.
for sticking with us.
Thank you.
So we're going to be with Jamie. This has been a blast. I know we're not actually doing a photo, but it feels like it. But
No, I thought
everybody,
we were,
we're
bro.
signing.
We
No.
need a
We're doing a
photo
photo.
here.
Okay.
Photo. Somebody out there
Somebody-
on TV land, take a picture of this. Send it to Matt.
We're signing off. It's been a blast out here in New York with Restrepo and Rob Skuba, the tech reps.
Matt,
We'll
thanks
see
for
you guys
everything you
next
do,
time.
man.
And Time, don't let Time and Time Homes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you
Thank
guys
you.
gotta
Time.
check them out if you're in Utah. You ever need anything? I
Worldwide.
mean, oh yeah, well, excuse me, worldwide. They are, you know, they've done the who's who. They've done amazing jobs. And as much as I always think I have the biggest, baddest stuff, I only
You heard it from
stand next
Restrepo.
to champions, and I needed him next to me.
Thanks, guys. It's been a blast. We'll see you around, guys.
Brad
Thank
and
you.
Greg, thank you.
Yeah.